What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Welcome to episode 44 of the Be Great podcast. And today, as I said last week, we are going to get into the top 10 quarterbacks for the 2025 NFL Draft. I'm very excited to be doing this today. It's the start of my position by position rankings. So let's just hop right into it. So I'm going to give you my top 10. I'm going to go one by one. And with each one, I'm going to give you where I could kind of see them landing in the draft, maybe with what teams, what round, so on and so forth. But let's just get right into it. At one, should be no surprise. I think most people probably have this guy at one. It's Cam Ward. Uh, and just to be clear, I think this is one of the weakest quarterback classes of all time. I don't have much faith in any of these quarterbacks. If I'm a GM, I don't think I would draft a single one of these guys in the first round. Cam Ward, while he had flashes of brilliance and looked really good at times, he also made a lot of mistakes. And, at the end of the day, his team didn't make the playoff and he had plenty of weapons around him. Now, yes, that defense was terrible. Um, but again, he made his fair share of mistakes this season for Miami. But I think he's as of right now, I feel like he's the best quarterback in this class. And as far as where I think he's going to fall, look, he's going to go top three, 100%, because all three teams need a quarterback. Titans, Browns, Giants. It's just a matter of, does a team want Travis Hunter more than they want a quarterback? And I think he's going to end up being a Tennessee Titan. That just kind of feels to me like where he's going to land. And if he doesn't fall, if he doesn't get drafted by the Titans, I could easily see the Browns or the Giants drafting him. Shedeur Sanders, I feel the same way. I don't think he's going to go one. I don't think the Titans are going to draft him. But Shedeur is an interesting one. What I fear with Shedeur is, first of all, he pretty much just played Big 12 competition while he was at Colorado. He didn't really play against a Big 10 or a Big 10 defense, an SEC defense. And again, it's similar to Cam Ward. He had flashes, but he also made a lot of mistakes. And I also wonder, is he capable of playing within a system that is not his dad's? Is he going to be able to be coached by someone that is not his dad? That's my question. Um, and we'll have to see. I think Shedeur has potential. I really do. But, he's not going to have Travis Hunter to save him. He's not. He's going to be on a bad team. That's just the reality, and he's going to have to figure it out. As far as where I think he's going to land, look, I don't think the Titans are going to draft him. If they're going to draft a quarterback, they're going to draft Cam Ward. Could the Browns draft Shedeur? They could. It's just kind of a matter of, is Dion and Shedeur going to force him to go somewhere? You know what I'm saying? Like, if the Browns say, "Hey, we want to draft Shedeur," is Dion going to be like, "No, I'm not doing that"? I know the Raiders. It's almost been a thing where for a while now, where Shedeur is going to be a Raider. And I think right now I would predict that. I would predict the Raiders drafting up to 2, Browns trading back to 6, and the Raiders drafting Shedeur. And if not, I think Shedeur could be a Giant. I think that as well. I just don't think Shedeur is going to be a Brown. For some reason, I just don't see that. Let's see. At 3, this is when it probably gets interesting, and you're going to see a lot of varying answers here past number 2 from a lot of people. At 3, I have Jackson Dart, and I'll tell you this, it's close between Jackson Dart and these other two, in my opinion. I think Jackson Dart, I think people don't really realize that Jackson Dart is actually a very good quarterback, and he was really good at Ole Miss, and I think he has a lot of potential at the next level. Again, though, a lot of mistakes, a lot of games where he just did not play well at all. And as far as potential landing spots for Jackson, it's I don't think I can't imagine more than other than Cam and Shadur. I can't imagine another quarterback is taken in the first round. I just cannot picture it. I could see Jackson being taken in the second round by, if the Giants aren't able to get Shadur or Cam, I could see the Giants taking Jackson Dart in the third round. If the Raiders aren't able to, I could see that. The Browns, all your typical teams that need a quarterback, your Titans, your Raiders, your Browns, your Giants. Those teams desperately need a quarterback. I'll tell you a sneaky team that could draft Jackson Dart, and that's the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers are in a position where they're more than likely going to re-sign Justin Fields or Russell Wilson. I doubt both, but I think it would also do them a lot of good to draft one. I'm not saying go out there and reach for one and try and pick one in the first round. No, no, no. But why not? Why not just draft one? It doesn't matter who it is. It could be someone in the sixth round, but you might as well draft one. You might as well and see if you got a diamond in the rough. You never know. And Jackson Dart could be that guy in the second or third round. At 4, I have Kyle McCord. I see Kyle McCord similarly. At Ohio State, a lot of people gave him slack, but Kyle McCord went to Syracuse and kind of revitalized himself and had a tremendous season. And I think he's going to be someone who is drafted a lot higher than people expect. And it's your usual culprits for him. As far as what round I think he's going to go in, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. I think he could be drafted as high as the third round, as low as probably the fifth, somewhere around that range, probably for Kyle McCord. And it's the same for the next guy, Dylan Gabriel. I think Dylan Gabriel is a great quarterback. The problem is he's on the older side because he's been in college since, I was an infant. And that's going to, take a lot of scouts and teams off of him. But again, if you can snag a Dylan Gabriel in the fifth round, why not? Why not take the chance on him? That's my point of view on it. Why not? Dylan Gabriel is a great quarterback. He was a Heisman finalist. Why not? Oh man, this sixth guy. Obviously, Kyle McCord was 4. Dylan Gabriel was 5. At 6, I have Quinn Ewers. I just don't understand why Quinn is declaring for the draft. I don't understand it. He's not ready. I think he's going to absolutely fail. And I think he needed another year in college. I would have loved to see him transfer. I know that Georgia was interested in him. I think North Carolina was interested in him. I would have loved to see him go to North Carolina and play under Bill Belichick for a season. I would have loved to see that. But instead, I don't know who he's getting this advice from. He decides to declare for the draft. And you know what? More power to him, I guess. But Quinn Ewers is going to fail in the NFL for a simple reason that I have stated multiple times on here when they lost both times to Georgia. He doesn't throw bullets. He throws floaters. Every ball that he throws floats in the air for 50 years, whether it's a slant, whether it's a screen, whether it's a deep pass downfield, whether it's a post, whether it's a hitch. They are all the same speed of throw, and that you can't do that in the NFL. Okay, you're not going to get as much separation with wide receivers in the NFL on these NFL corners. You're not going to have much separation. So if you go out there and continue to throw floaters, they're going to get picked off. Okay, they're going to get picked off. And we've already seen that Quinn Ewers gets super rattled under pressure, gets super rattled when he makes mistakes, gets super rattled when it's crunch time. And that's just going to be tenfold in the NFL. And I just do not understand why Quinn is declaring for the draft. I don't see it working out at all. And I see him getting drafted in that same range, third round to the fifth round, somewhere in there. I think you're going to have a lot of quarterbacks drafted between rounds 3 and 6. I think you're going to see a lot of those guys. I think you're going to see Kyle McCord, Jackson Dart, Dylan Gabriel, Quinn Ewers. I think you're going to see this next guy, Will Howard. Will Howard, What I worry is that I think some NFL scouts are going to feel higher on Will Howard than they should. I think Will Howard is a fine quarterback, but he was surrounded by amazing talent. It's the same way I feel like in the NFL right now. It's the same way I feel about a Jalen Hurts, a Brock Purdy. People act like these guys are top five elite quarterbacks. They're not. They're surrounded by elite talent. Jalen Hurts has a top three offensive line. He has A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, and he has a top three defense in the NFL. It's a lot easier to play quarterback when you have all of that around you. Okay? It's a lot. And look, I'm not saying Jalen Hurts is trash, but he is not elite. Brock Purdy, same thing. You have Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel. Historically, their defense has been pretty good. It wasn't as good this year. Again, it's a lot better. It's a lot easier. Sorry, it's a lot easier to play quarterback when you have all that. Will Howard, prime example. It's a lot easier to play quarterback when you're surrounded by droves of NFL talent on the college level. When you are able to just say, whatever, I'm just going to throw it up to Jeremiah Smith, and of course he'll catch it. When you have Emeka Egbuka as your second best receiver, right? When you have two stud running backs in Travion Henderson and Quinshawn Judkins. When your offensive line isn't necessarily fantastic, but for college standards, it's good. And when your defense is amazing, that kind of helps when you play. That helps a lot playing quarterback. It does. And I just worry that teams are going to fall in love with Will Howard. Will Howard needs to go to a team that is established, and he needs to start off as a backup for a couple years. Okay? That's what Will Howard needs to do. Like, let me think. What's a good landing spot for Will Howard? What's a team? It's like a current playoff team. Honestly, I just thought of this. The Lions, I would love for Will Howard. I would like that for Will Howard. Go to the Lions, back up Goff for a couple years. They have amazing talent there, an amazing offensive line. They have Amon-Ra St. Brown. They have a great defense when it's healthy. And just go be a backup, you know? I would like that for Will Howard. At what number is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. At 8. This is a guy that I already know is going to make me angry on draft day, and it's Jalen Milroe. And I already see it happening where scouts are falling in love with this guy. I'm a Steelers fan. I saw something on Instagram, a report that said that the Steelers love Jalen Milroe and would consider drafting him in the first round. I'm telling you right now, if the Steelers draft Jalen Milroe in the first round, I might do what Aaron Rodgers did. I'm gonna go hide in a cave, and except I'm never coming out. I'm gonna completely disconnect, go off the grid from society, and you'll never find me again. If the Steelers draft Jalen Milroe in the first round, I'm telling you this right now. Jalen Milroe, right now in the NFL, would suck so bad, so bad. Okay, look. He is super mobile. And at the end of the day, that will help you out a lot, right? Being that mobile will make you seem a lot better than you are. But it's going to be similar to Lamar, except he's not as good at throwing the football as Lamar is. When you're gonna force what's his name? Goodness gracious, I can't even remember. Jalen Milroe, when you force him to throw the football, he's going to fail. He's going to throw picks because that's who he is. That's who he is. I'll tell you what, I would love for the Ravens to draft Jalen Milroe as a backup to Lamar Jackson. It would be literally the perfect fit. The best fit I've ever seen in my entire life. Oh, Lamar, you're injured? Let me bring in Lamar Light in Jalen Milroe. I mean, I would love that. Oh, I wouldn't love it as a Steelers fan, but that to me just feels perfect. And that's what Jalen Milroe should be, is a backup in the beginning. and take time. He needs time to develop. You cannot bring him in and expect him to start immediately. He will fail. He will fail. Just like Anthony Richardson. I called I wish I was doing this podcast when Anthony Richardson was going into the draft. I screamed up and down that that man was going to be a bust, and it was the easiest prediction of my life. Why anyone thought Anthony Richardson was just going to go in and start right away and be amazing is beyond me. It blows my mind. Like these guys did not watch him at Florida fail consistently. Yeah, he's a tank of a human being who can run, but when you force him to throw, he sucks. And Jalen Milroe is the same thing. He is the same thing, except he's not built like a tank like Anthony Richardson. At 9, I have Curtis Rourke from Indiana. I think he declared for the draft, or he has to declare for the draft. Curtis Rourke, I like. My issue is, again, at Indiana, he played a bunch of bad teams, and when he had to play good teams, he simply didn't look good. I mean, that's just is what it is. He also had the injury, so you kind of have to see how that is going into the draft. But I could see him being somewhere from a 5th round to a 7th round pick, and again, go be a backup somewhere. That's what I feel like for most of these guys. Cam Ward, if you want to start him right away, fine. Shedeur, fine. Even Jackson Dart, okay. But anything after that, after those 3, I want them to be a backup. Kyle McCord, Dylan Gabriel, Quinn Ewers, Will Howard, Jalen Milroe, Curtis Rourke, all need to be backups. They need to be. And same with the last guy, who I'll get to in a second. They all need to be backups. Okay, they need to be picked up by good teams who just could use just a young backup to develop. Okay, that's what they need. Okay, Riley Leonard is my 10th guy. Same thing, same thing. As far as where I like Riley Leonard to be placed, honestly, the Bills. I think the Bills could be a solid spot for him. Which is funny that I say that because Colin Coward made a tweet saying, "You see Riley Leonard, I see Josh Allen," which is an insane thing to tweet, by the way. That is an insane thing to tweet. I think, though, that I kind of understand what he's saying. Riley Leonard is nowhere the talent that Josh Allen is, and he probably never will be. But as far as play style, I guess they play the same. They're white guys who are mobile, I guess. But I wouldn't mind him going and being a backup at the Bills. I mean, why not? Curtis Rourke. Oh, also, I would love Will Howard to be a backup for the Chiefs. I don't even know who the backup for Patrick Mahomes is, but being a backup to Patrick Mahomes is never a bad thing. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is 28. He's not like he's a spring chicken. It's not like he's 23. He's 28. But it is what it is. Saints could probably also use a quarterback, but again, I don't know. I don't know who their starter's going to be next year. Are they bringing back Derek Carr? Are they just going to start with Spencer Rattler? I mean, who knows with them? They're a mess. They can't even find a head coach. Jets could probably use guys. Honestly, the Jets could draft one of these guys, back up Aaron Rodgers for one more season. But who just needs one more season? That's the thing. Maybe Dylan Gabriel. I mean, maybe him. Maybe. Certainly not Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe needs 2 to 3 years on the bench being, what do you call it? Oh my gosh. I forgot the word. He just needs to sit on the bench and get better. Okay, I forgot the word I was going to. Developed. He needs to sit on the bench for 2 or 3 years and just be developed. That's what Jalen Milroe needs. Okay, those are my top 10 quarterbacks. I'll go through it again. Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart, Kyle McCord, Dylan Gabriel, Quinn Ewers, Will Howard, Jalen Milroe, Curtis Rourke, Riley Leonard. Next week, you'll get an episode probably either Tuesday or Wednesday next week. And I will be doing running backs, which that one will be a lot of fun. This running back class is it's a really good one. I mean, it's deep. I mean, I'll easily find 10 guys for running backs. And trust me, there will be probably 10 more other than the 10 that I name that will be that I think are really good in this class. But yeah, we'll get to that. I'm excited. We're into draft season. I hope everyone has a tremendous Tuesday. And yeah, just go have a great day.